Power up! I am KT Bradford, and this is the Dell Chromebook 11. Dell just announced this here at Dell World 2013. It is an 11-inch Chromebook, and it is pretty much everything you'd expect. So I've had a little bit of time to do some hands-on stuff with this, and I want to give you my first impressions. So let's start with the outside and the hardware. This is an 11.6-inch screen, 1366 by 768 resolution. You may not be able to see on the video, but the screen is a little bit glary and glossy, which is not that great. It's also not a touch screen, but this is also going to be $300 or a little bit less than $300, so we don't expect a touchscreen at this price. The viewing angles are actually okay. It's just like the glossiness that's a little weird on this. We have a full-size keyboard. The keys give pretty good tactile feedback. Like, it's not super great, but I was able to get up to typing speed right away. I like the spacing between the keys. There's a bit of a matte coating on the keys that make it a little bit hard to type when you have fingernails, but it's not that big a deal. It's just something you can definitely feel when you're typing, and it does help for having your fingers not slide off the keys and make you inaccurate. This nice wide touchpad here is buttonless, and so far I found it very responsive, no sort of weird finickiness. So overall, the input experience, pretty good. There's a matte-ish or sort of rubber-esque soft touch coating here on the deck, which I really like. And overall, the Chromebook is a pretty good-looking notebook. It's not flashy, but also at this price you don't expect it to be really flashy, but it's also not embarrassing looking, which is really good. It's not the thinnest, sleekest Chromebook that you can buy, but Dell's actually aiming this at the education market. So this is destined for like K through 12 schools. You will be able to buy it as a consumer, but what they're really focusing on is like putting this in schools. And so that's why it's not quite as svelte or thin as you would find on a consumer grade system. Just to give you a little bit about the ports, we've got two USB 3.0 ports, a full HDMI, headphone mic, and that's pretty much it. There's also a lock slot here, which again makes sense if you're talking about setting this in for educational purposes. Inside, we've got an Intel Celeron processor. It's a 4th generation Celeron processor, and either 2 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 16 gigabyte SSD. You know, Dell claims that this is going to last for 10 hours on a charge, which is, if it can get that much on a charge, it's actually really good. But for a Chromebook, that actually makes a lot of sense because there's not a lot of like, that it's needed, and the screen is not that high resolution, so there's not going to be a lot of huge drains on the battery. Now, in terms of actually how Chromebook works, as I said, I've only had a little bit of hands-on time with this, but in my hands-on time, I've noticed that it's as speedy and snappy as one would expect to deal with Chrome OS. But of course, because it's Chrome OS, you can only deal with web apps and the apps that are made to work with it. You can't, load any other apps, and getting to your saved files is kind of a pain. But this is not a problem specific to the Dell Chromebook 11, so it's just an issue that you encounter with Chrome OS. So there's not a lot to differentiate this laptop from other Chromebooks. They have HP's Chromebook and Samsung has a Chromebook, but as someone from Dell pointed out to us earlier today, HP recently had to recall a bunch of their Chromebooks because they were overheating. And so the difference between this and the HP Chromebook is that Dell says this won't blow up. I'd say that puts it on a pretty, high level. So we will see. Hopefully we'll be able to get this in full review, put it through its paces, and see if it is worth the sub $300 price. So I'm KT Bradford. This is the Dell Chromebook 11. I'm here at Dell World 2013. Thanks for watching.